The sea is dark and wide. It looks calm. Too calm. Small waves touch the sides of the ships as they move slowly forward. On the decks, young sailors stand at their posts. Many have not slept. Their eyes scan the empty horizon. Nothing seems wrong, and yet something feels wrong. Inside the ships, radar screens glow softly. Faint dots appear, then disappear. Officers lean closer. They rub their eyes. The signals do not make sense. These waters are supposed to be safe. The main enemy fleet is believed to be far away. That is what everyone was told. A radio crackles. A voice speaks fast. Another ship has seen something. Shapes on the water. Large shapes. Too many to count. The words hang in the air. No one wants to say what they are thinking. The American ships here are small. Many are escort carriers, built to protect landings, not to face heavy warships. Their job is simple: guard the soldiers landing on nearby islands, provide air cover, hold the line until bigger ships return. They were never meant to fight alone. On one carrier, a pilot waits beside his plane. The engine is ready. The fuel is low. He listens as orders change again and again. First, prepare to launch. Then, wait. Then, prepare again. No one is sure what is coming. Out on the water, the horizon begins to fill with shadows. Long shapes, tall masts, heavy guns. This is no patrol force. This is something much larger. Something powerful. Something that should not be here. A sailor grips the railing. His mouth is dry. He thinks of home. He thinks of how quiet the sea was just minutes ago. He wonders how things changed so fast. The radio comes alive again. The message is clear now. Enemy ships, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, an entire force moving straight toward them. The words spread from ship to ship. Fear spreads with them. Officers rush to their stations. Orders are shouted. Guns are turned. Planes are rushed onto decks. There is no time to think about how this happened. There is only time to react. Somewhere nearby, an American commander listens to reports piling up. His map no longer matches reality. Enemy fleets are not where they were expected. Friendly ships are not where they should be. The battle is not forming as planned. It is breaking apart. On another ship, a signal officer hesitates before speaking. He knows what his message means. He knows it may change everything. He sends it anyway. Help is needed. Urgently. The sea begins to erupt with sound. Not explosions yet, but engines. Aircraft taking off under pressure. Ships turning hard. Cutting white lines through dark water. The calm is gone. In the distance, flashes appear. Large guns firing. The sound reaches the American ships seconds later, deep and heavy, rolling across the water. These are not small weapons. These are the guns of the world's largest warships. A young officer looks through binoculars. What he sees makes his hands shake. The enemy fleet is real. It is close. And it is moving fast. Some sailors whisper prayers. Others stay silent. Training takes over. Hands move without thought. But fear is there, steady and strong. No one knows it yet. But this moment will become part of something far bigger. This is not just a clash of ships. This is the opening of the largest naval battle the world has ever seen. Across hundreds of miles of ocean, fleets are moving at the same time. Each side believes it understands the plan. Each side believes it knows where the enemy is. Both are wrong. The American sailors here feel small. They feel exposed. They are facing ships that seem unstoppable. And still, they prepare to fight. Not because they expect to win, but because there is no other choice. In the confusion, courage begins to appear. Not loud courage, quiet courage. The kind that comes when fear is accepted and duty remains. Planes lift into the sky, one by one. Pilots know some may not return. Ships move to block paths they cannot truly hold. Messages are sent into the darkness, hoping someone is listening. Far away, Japanese commanders believe their long-awaited moment has arrived. Their fleet is finally in motion. Their plan is bold, risky, all or nothing. They believe surprise is on their side. But the sea does not care about plans. As dawn begins to break, the full shape of the danger becomes clear. American ships are caught between forces they did not expect. Japanese ships are racing toward a chance that may never come again. The quiet before the storm is gone. In its place is uncertainty, confusion, and the slow, heavy understanding that this battle will decide more than today's fight. It will decide the future of the war at sea. And as the sun rises over the Pacific, both sides move forward, unaware of how much is about to be lost and how much is about to change. What is happening here is not an accident. It is the result of months of pressure, fear, and unfinished business. This stretch of sea is not important by itself. What matters is what lies beyond it. For the United States, the goal is clear. The Philippines must be taken back. These islands are more than land on a map. They sit across Japan's main supply lines. Oil, food, and raw materials move through these waters. If the Philippines are lost, Japan will struggle to feed its war machine. There is also a promise tied to this place, a promise made earlier in the war, a promise to return. Breaking that promise is not an option, not for leaders, not for soldiers, not for a nation watching closely from home. American forces are strong now. Shipyards are working day and night. New carriers fill the ocean. Pilots are trained faster than ever. Confidence is growing. Some believe the enemy navy is already beaten. Others are more cautious, but even they feel momentum is on their side. This landing is meant to be the final push through the center of the Pacific. Once the Philippines are secured, the path toward Japan itself will open. Airfields will be built. Bases will rise. The war will move closer to its end. But that future depends on control of the sea. For Japan, the situation is very different. The empire is under strain. Fuel is scarce. Ships are hard to replace. Skilled pilots are fewer each month. Every loss hurts more than the last. Japanese leaders know this may be their final chance to strike back in a meaningful way. If the Americans succeed here, Japan's navy may never recover. The homeland will be exposed. The war will slowly close in. So a decision is made, a dangerous one. Instead of saving ships for defense, Japan will risk almost everything. Battleships, carriers, cruisers, and destroyers will be thrown into one massive plan. It is bold. It is desperate. And it depends on timing and surprise. The idea is simple in theory. Lure the American carriers away. Draw them north. While they chase a false threat, heavy Japanese ships will rush through narrow seas and attack the vulnerable landing forces. Cut the heart out of the invasion. Force America to retreat. It is a plan built on hope. Hope that the enemy will take the bait. Hope that damaged carriers can still deceive. Hope that scattered fleets can arrive at the right place at the right time. Japanese commanders understand the risk. Many know they may not return. But honor, duty, and survival all point in the same direction. Doing nothing is not an option. Back on the American side, the invasion fleet is enormous. Hundreds of ships, thousands of men, supplies stacked high, landing craft moving back and forth like insects on water. It feels unstoppable, and that is part of the danger. Confidence brings speed. Speed brings mistakes. The American plan assumes the Japanese Navy will not fight with full strength. It assumes the enemy is already broken. It assumes control of the air is enough. Those assumptions will soon be tested. As troops land on the beaches, the focus is forward, on building airstrips, on pushing inland, on defeating the enemy on land. The sea, for many, feels secure. But beneath that sense of safety, cracks are forming. Reports arrive slowly. Some are ignored. Others are misunderstood. Enemy ships are sighted, then lost. Air attacks appear in unexpected places. Commanders struggle to see the full picture. The battle is no longer a single event. It is becoming a puzzle spread across hundreds of miles. For the men on the ships, none of this strategy is visible. They only know their orders. Protect the landings, guard the transports, launch planes when told. They do not know that the enemy fleet is closer than anyone expected. They do not know how many ships are moving toward them. They only feel the tension rising. In Japanese ships, the mood is heavy, but focused. Crews understand this is a one-way mission for many. Letters are written. Silence fills long hours at sea. Engines push forward, burning precious fuel. There is pride, but also realism. The odds are not good. But there is still a chance, and chance is enough. As both sides move, the ocean becomes crowded with intention. Every course change carries meaning. Every delay carries risk. This battle matters because it is not just about ships sinking or surviving. It is about control, about momentum, about who decides the shape of the war from this point on. If America fails here, the war will drag on. Lives will be lost on more beaches, in more skies, across more seas. Confidence will crack. Allies will question the plan. If Japan fails, the door closes. The Navy that once ruled the Pacific will be reduced to memory. The war will become a slow retreat, fought closer and closer to home. Neither side can fully see that future yet. All they see is the present. Fleets moving through darkness, radios humming with half-formed warnings, men standing watch, waiting for something they cannot name. The sea remains wide and uncaring, and as both nations push forward, everything they have built, believed, and feared is about to collide. Far from the noise of the ships, decisions are being shaped by pressure that has been building for a long time. Leaders on both sides carry the weight of earlier victories and earlier failures. None of them are free from the past. In America, the war has turned. Early defeats are no longer the focus. New victories have changed the mood. The Navy feels stronger than ever before. Carriers now rule the sea. Planes strike far beyond the horizon. Many believe no enemy fleet can survive such power. This belief brings confidence. Confidence brings speed. Plans move forward quickly. The return to the Philippines is not delayed. It is pushed with force. Commanders know the landing will be risky, but they trust their strength. They trust their ships. They trust that the enemy will react slowly, if at all. The idea that Japan might risk its entire navy feels unlikely. That assumption settles quietly into planning rooms and command ships. It is never spoken clearly, but it shapes every choice. Across the sea, Japan faces a very different reality. Each month feels heavier than the last. Fuel shortages limit training. Repairs take longer. Ships that once felt powerful now feel fragile. Losses cannot be replaced. The Japanese Navy knows its moment is slipping away. The old balance of power is gone. But pride remains. So does duty. For many leaders, this battle is not only about winning, it is about meaning, about proving that the Navy still matters, about showing the nation that it did not fade quietly. The plan that emerges reflects this mindset. It is complex. It is dangerous. It relies on deception. It asks damaged carriers to act as bait. It asks heavy ships to push through narrow waters under threat from the air. Some officers doubt it. They see the risks clearly. But doubt has little room to grow. Time is short. Choices are limited. The order is given. The fleet will sail. As ships leave port, crews understand what this means. There are no celebrations, no speeches filled with hope. There is only focus and silence. On many ships, sailors write letters they may never send. They do not talk about fear. They talk about duty, about family, about home. Meanwhile, American forces continue to build strength near the Philippines. Supplies arrive in endless waves. Planes fill the skies. The invasion feels unstoppable. But distance creates blind spots. The Pacific is vast. Fleets are spread far apart. Messages take time. Information arrives late or incomplete. Commanders must decide before knowing everything. This is where danger grows. Small warnings appear. A sighting here, a report there. Enemy ships seen, then lost again. The signals do not yet form a clear picture. Some believe the enemy is retreating. Others think these are small, desperate moves. Few imagine a full-scale strike. As days pass, tension builds quietly. The weather changes. Clouds move in and out. Visibility shifts. Each change affects planes, ships, and decisions. The battle is forming, but no one sees its full shape. Japanese fleets move along separate paths, each with its own role. Timing is everything. If one force is late, the entire plan may collapse. If surprise is lost, there may be no second chance. American commanders focus on protecting the landings. Their eyes are on the beaches, not the open sea beyond. The carriers feel like a shield that cannot be broken. This belief will soon be tested. At sea level, the men feel it first. The long hours, the tight silence, the sense that something is coming. Engines run, radios crackle, watches change. The ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. Both sides are moving toward the same moment, pushed by fear, hope, pride, and pressure. No one can stop now. There is no room to turn back. The world before the battle is ending. What comes next will not follow any plan fully. It will be shaped by confusion, courage, and chance. And as fleets draw closer, minds sharpen and nerves tighten. The quiet tension finally reaches its breaking point. At the center of this growing storm are human minds, not maps, not ships. Minds shaped by belief, fear, pride, and memory. The battle will move at the speed of these thoughts. On the American side, command feels confident but stretched. The fleet is vast. The responsibilities are heavy. Decisions must be made quickly, often with incomplete information. There is little time to pause. The senior commanders believe in the carrier. They have seen its power again and again. Air strikes have sunk ships, before they could even be seen. This belief shapes everything. The carrier force is treated as the key to victory. Battleships, once kings of the sea, now feel like support players. They still matter, but the air seems to matter more. This quiet shift in thinking will soon have consequences. One American commander carries a strong sense of duty. He believes pressure must be kept on the enemy at all times. If there is a chance to destroy what remains of Japan's carriers, he wants to take it. He believes hesitation allows danger to grow. Another commander worries more about protection, about guarding the landings, about staying between the enemy and the soldiers on shore. He understands the risk of leaving them exposed. These two ways of thinking exist side by side. They do not clash openly, but they pull in different directions. Information flows upward in pieces. Reports are filtered. Some details feel unimportant in the moment. Others are misunderstood. The picture that reaches the top is never complete. On one command ship, officers stare at charts covered in markings. Enemy positions are guessed. Lines are drawn, erased, and drawn again. Each line represents a choice. Each choice carries risk. No one doubts American strength. The question is how to use it. Across the sea, Japanese commanders think in very different terms. Strength is no longer assumed. Survival is uncertain. Every move must count. One Japanese leader believes in bold action. He believes surprise can still overcome power. He believes the enemy has grown careless. That belief drives him forward. Another commander worries about timing, about coordination, about what happens if the fleets do not arrive together. He knows the plan depends on perfect movement across long distances. But perfect movement is rare at sea. Japanese leaders also carry deep emotional weight. Many were trained in an earlier era. They remember victories that defined their careers. They remember when their navy was feared. Now, they feel the weight of decline. Ships are older. Crews are tired. Fuel is precious. The future feels narrow. This atoll becomes more than strategy. It becomes a test of meaning. Some believe that even a failed strike is better than waiting for slow defeat. Others quietly wonder if this is a gamble too far. But unity matters. Once the order is given, doubt must stay silent. On Japanese ships, discipline is strong. Orders are followed without question. But inside, thoughts are heavy. Officers know the enemy's air power is overwhelming. They know losses will be severe. Still, they move forward. Back on the American side, success has created blind spots. Victories make it easy to believe the enemy will act as expected. That belief settles into planning like fog. When reports arrive about Japanese movements, they are read through this lens. Carriers are seen as the main threat. Heavy ships feel secondary. This assumption will soon be challenged. Commanders also struggle with distance. Fleets are spread across hundreds of miles. Messages arrive late. Decisions must be made before full confirmation. Trust becomes essential. Trust in subordinates. Trust in judgment. Trust in instincts. And instincts are shaped by past experience. For American leaders, past experience says air power wins. For Japanese leaders, past experience says boldness can still surprise. Both are partly right. Both are partly wrong. As the fleets move closer, pressure rises. Sleep becomes rare. Meals are skipped. Minds race through possibilities. A single decision now can send thousands of men toward danger or safety. On one American carrier, an officer reviews reports late into the night. He senses a pattern forming, but cannot fully explain it. Something feels off. But without clear proof, he hesitates. On a Japanese flagship, a commander studies the sea ahead. He knows the enemy is near. He knows the plan depends on silence and speed. He also knows that once contact is made, control will slip away. Both men understand the same truth, even if they do not speak it. Once the battle begins, they will no longer command it. They will only react. This is the final moment of control, the last quiet space where choices still feel clean. Soon, those choices will collide with reality. Soon, orders will be overtaken by noise, fear, and chance. The minds at war have set the stage. Now, the sea is ready to answer. The first signs come without warning. A sudden report, a brief contact, then silence again. The ocean, wide and empty just hours ago, now feels crowded with unseen danger. Planes lift from decks before dawn. Engines roar into the thin air. Pilots scan the sea below, searching for shapes that may or may not be there. Clouds hide more than they reveal. Every shadow looks like a ship. On one flight, a pilot spots something. A long line cutting through the water. He leans closer. His heart races. He reports it in. The message moves fast, but not fast enough. Far below, Japanese ships continue forward. They move with purpose. Their decks are quiet. Guns are ready. Crews stand by, waiting for orders that will come only once. Then the airstrikes begin. American planes dive toward enemy ships. Smoke rises. Radios fill with urgent voices. Some attacks hit their mark. Others miss. The enemy does not scatter as expected. Instead, it keeps coming. Confusion grows quickly. Reports arrive from different directions, each telling a different story. Enemy carriers sighted. Enemy battleships sighted. Then, nothing. Then, something else. Commanders struggle to connect these pieces. The battle is no longer one fight. It is many fights, happening at the same time, far apart, yet deeply linked. In the north, American carriers turn toward what they believe is the main threat. The chance to destroy enemy carriers feels too important to ignore. Orders are given. Fleets change course. To the south, Japanese ships push through narrow waters. They slip past defenses that were never meant to face such force. Their timing is imperfect, but their movement is bold. At sea level, the men feel the shift immediately. Ships turn hard. Engines strain. Guns are loaded. There is no time to explain why. Only time to act. On a small American escort carrier, sailors watch the horizon fill with enemy ships. These are not the carriers they expected. These are heavy ships, battleships, cruisers, close enough to see clearly. Fear hits like a wave. The American ships are smaller, slower, lightly armed. They were never meant to face this kind of enemy. And yet, they are all that stand in the way. Planes take off with whatever weapons they have. Some carry bombs, some carry rockets, some carry nothing at all. Pilots know it does not matter. They must slow the enemy, confuse them, buy time. Japanese guns open fire. The sound is deep and rolling. Shells crash into the water around the smaller ships. Columns of sea rise into the air. The ocean itself seems to attack. American ships turn sharply, laying smoke. They zigzag wildly. Every second counts. Every turn is a gamble. Orders are shouted. Damage reports come in. Some are calm. Some are not. Crews work without pause, fixing what they can, bracing for what they cannot. Stop. In the air, pilots make repeated attacks. They fly low. They fly straight at danger. They do not think about survival. They think about the ships behind them. Japanese commanders see these attacks and hesitate. They expected an easy push. Instead, they face constant pressure from the sky. Confusion creeps in. Reports are unclear. Is this a trap? Where are the American carriers? That moment of doubt matters. Elsewhere, American commanders realize something is wrong. The enemy fleet they chased north is not the one threatening the landings. Messages race across the sea, but distance steals time. By the time clarity arrives, choices are limited. The battle has fully ignited now. Smoke hangs over the water. Planes crisscross the sky. Ships fight battles they never planned to fight. Control slips away from everyone. The sea decides who meets who and when. Men fight not because they expect victory, but because stopping would mean collapse. Small ships face larger ones. Pilots return to burning decks, then launch again. The battle is loud, chaotic, and deeply human. And in this storm of movement and fear, the future of the Pacific War begins to turn, shaped not by perfect plans, but by moments of courage, confusion, and chance. The fight is far from over. It is only beginning to show its true cost. The fight stretches on longer than anyone expects. Minutes feel like hours. The ocean is covered in smoke and broken light. It is hard to tell where one battle ends and another begins. On the small American ships, there is no pause. Planes land, refuel, and take off again. Sometimes, they land on the wrong deck. Sometimes, they barely land at all. Crews pull pilots from cockpits and push them back in minutes later. There is no time for fear to settle. A young pilot looks down at the sea and sees enemy ships turning. He cannot tell if they are retreating or regrouping. He does not wait to find out. He dives again, releasing what little he has left. Then he pulls up, fuel nearly gone, heart racing. Below him, a destroyer charges forward. It should be running away. Everyone knows that, but the captain orders full speed ahead. Smoke pours out behind the ship. Guns fire as fast as they can be loaded. The goal is not to win. The goal is to confuse, to delay, to make the enemy hesitate. Japanese gunners struggle to track these fast, desperate moves. Their ships are powerful, but power needs order, and order is slipping. Smoke hides targets. Attacks come from every direction. Radios carry mixed messages. One Japanese officer believes the American carriers must be nearby. Why else would these small ships fight so hard? He warns his commander. Another officer disagrees. He believes this is the last line of defense. The argument is brief, but the doubt remains. That doubt costs time. Shells fall closer now. Water crashes over decks. Men brace themselves. Some ships take damage. Fires start and are fought back quickly. Training holds. Discipline holds. Fear is pushed aside. In one moment, a shell lands so close that the ship shakes from end to end. A sailor is thrown to the deck. He stands up slowly, checks his hands, then runs back to his station. There is no time to think about what almost happened. Above them, clouds break apart. Sunlight cuts through smoke. For a brief second, everything is clear. Too clear. Japanese ships see the American formation more clearly now. Orders are given to press the attack. This should be the final push. But then another wave of planes appears. They come low and fast. Some drop smoke. Some make dry runs with no weapons, just to force ships to turn. The sky feels full of movement and noise. Japanese commanders try to keep formation. They try to push forward. But reports continue to warn of American carriers nearby. The fear of an unseen strike grows. This fear pulls against the original plan. Far away, American commanders finally grasp the danger. The landings are exposed. The enemy has broken through. Messages are sent. Courses are changed. But distance remains cruel. Every mile matters. Back at the front, the smaller American ships continue to fight beyond reason. They are damaged. They are tired. But they do not break. This unexpected resistance begins to shape the battle, not through strength, but through time. Time allows confusion to grow. Time allows doubts to deepen. Time allows American forces and forces elsewhere to adjust. Japanese ships begin to turn. Some commanders believe the mission has failed. Others believe pressing on will only lead to disaster. Fuel is low. Air attacks show no sign of stopping. The decision is not clear. It never is in war. As the enemy fleet pulls back, American sailors do not cheer. Many do not even understand what is happening. They are too busy surviving, too busy repairing damage, too busy helping the wounded and counting who is still present. Only later will they realize what they have done. Elsewhere, other parts of the battle continue with equal intensity. In different waters, ships clash, planes strike, and lives are changed. The battle spreads like a storm, touching everything in its path. No single commander controls it now. No single plan defines it. What began as a careful design has become a test of endurance, nerve, and chance. And as the smoke begins to thin in some areas, a new question rises quietly. Who has truly gained the upper hand? The answer is not yet clear. The sea, still restless, has more to decide. As the noise fades in one part of the sea, it grows louder in another. This battle is not moving in a straight line. It is bending, twisting, shaped by choices made far from the men who will feel their weight. One decision, made hours earlier, now shows its full power. American carriers have chased north, drawn by the promise of destroying what seems to be the enemy's last air strength. The move feels right. Carriers have ruled this war. Destroying the enemy's carriers feels like ending the threat for good. But the sea does not reward logic alone. As the northern chase continues, messages begin to arrive. They are short, urgent, hard to read clearly. Enemy battleships are near the landings. Small American ships are fighting for their lives. For a moment, there is disbelief. How could this be happening? The enemy was supposed to be somewhere else. Maps are studied again. Reports are reread. The truth settles slowly and painfully. The enemy plan worked, at least in part. Now comes the hardest choice: turn back or continue forward. Turning back means giving up the chance to destroy the enemy carriers. It means admitting the earlier move may have been wrong. It means racing against time to protect the landings. Continuing forward means trusting that the smaller ships can hold on just a little longer. It means believing the enemy force near the beaches will turn away. It means accepting a terrible risk. There is no perfect answer. In war, decisions are made with what is known at the moment, not with what will be known later. The choice is made. Courses are changed. Ships pushed to their limits. But time cannot be recovered. Elsewhere, Japanese commanders face their own moment of truth. Their ships have pushed deep into danger. They have faced resistance they did not expect. Fuel has burned faster than planned. Air attacks feel endless. They ask themselves the same question in a different form. Press forward or pull back. Pressing forward means charging into uncertain danger, possibly into the range of American carriers. Pulling back means admitting the chance is slipping away. It means accepting that the last gamble may be ending. Conflicting reports make the decision harder. Some say American carriers are close. Others say they are far away. No one is sure. One Japanese commander chooses caution. He believes preserving what remains of the fleet matters more than pushing deeper into risk. He orders a turn. That single order changes everything. What could have become a crushing blow against the landings instead becomes a retreat. Not a panicked one, but a careful one. Still, the moment is gone. On the American side, relief mixes with exhaustion. The small ships that fought alone begin to understand they are no longer being chased. Smoke clears. The sea opens again. Some sailors laugh quietly. Others sit down where they stand. Many simply stare at the water, trying to process what just happened. Farther north, American planes finally strike the enemy carriers. The attacks are powerful. Damage is heavy. But these carriers were never meant to survive. They were bait. The realization comes too late to change the past. Across the entire battle, it becomes clear that no single side fully controlled events. Choices overlapped. Mistakes collided. Courage filled the gaps where plans failed. A delay here, a wrong turn there. A moment of doubt. A burst of bravery. Each one mattered. The battle's direction did not change because of one massive blow. It changed because of many small decisions made under pressure by people who could not see the whole picture. This is how wars turn. Not cleanly, not clearly, but through moments that feel ordinary at the time and historic only later. As the fleets begin to separate, the fighting slows. The sea grows quieter. The shape of what has been decided starts to emerge. The battle is no longer about who can strike next. It is about who can still endure. And in that silence after chaos, the true cost of the decisions made begins to settle in. As the fighting fades, the sea does not return to calm right away. It feels heavy, quiet in a way that presses on the chest. The danger has moved on, but its shadow remains. On the ships that survived, men begin to slow down. Hands that were shaking now feel numb. Voices drop. Some sailors sit where they stand, backs against steel walls, staring at nothing. They are still alive, but their bodies have not caught up with that fact yet. Damage crews move carefully through dark passages. They check doors. They check wires. They check for leaks. Every sound makes them pause. Every smell carries a question. Is it smoke or something worse? Pilots return to decks that look different than they did before. Parts of the ship are scarred. Some places are quiet where people once stood. The pilots climb out of their planes slowly. A few smile. Many do not. There is little talking at first. Words feel too small. Medics work without rest. They move from one man to another, offering what comfort they can. Sometimes that comfort is physical. Sometimes it is just presence. A hand on a shoulder, a calm voice in the noise. No one speaks of numbers. No one counts yet. The battle is over, but its weight is still moving through them. On the Japanese side, the feeling is just as heavy, though very different. Ships pull away with empty spaces on deck. Crews look at the sea and understand what has been lost. They know this was their chance. They know it may never come again. Some feel anger, some feel relief. Many feel both at the same time. In quiet moments, sailors on both sides think of the same things: home, family, faces they may not see again. The future, suddenly unclear in new ways. There is no victory in these thoughts, only survival. Exhaustion settles deep. Men sleep where they can, on the floor, against walls, in chairs meant for short rests that turn into long hours. Dreams are restless. Sounds of engines and alarms echo, even in silence. As daylight passes, the scale of the battle slowly becomes clear. Ships missing, squadrons reduced, crews changed forever. The sea has taken its share, without choosing sides. Commanders review reports with tired eyes. Lines of text describe events that feel unreal now. Decisions are replayed in the mind. Some bring pride, others bring doubt. All bring weight. No one feels untouched. This battle did not end with cheers or celebration. It ended with quiet work and long looks across the water. It ended with men realizing they will carry this day with them for the rest of their lives. And as the fleets move apart, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Something final has happened here. The war at sea has crossed a line it cannot uncross. Soon, the world will begin to understand what this battle has changed. In the days that follow, the meaning of what happened begins to spread beyond the ships that fought. Messages reach headquarters. Reports are compared. The confusion slowly clears. For the United States, the result becomes clear. First, the landings hold. Supplies keep coming. Airfields rise from the ground. The path through the Philippines remains open. The enemy fleet did not break the invasion. That alone changes everything. American commanders study the damage done to the Japanese Navy. The losses are not just ships. They are crews, experience, confidence, the ability to move freely at sea. Japan's Navy still exists, but it is no longer a force that can shape the war. It can react, it can defend, but it cannot decide. For Japan, this realization settles slowly and painfully. Ships return with fuel nearly gone. Repairs are limited. Replacement crews are scarce. The question is no longer how to win at sea, but how to survive without it. The sea lanes remain dangerous. Supplies grow harder to move. Each voyage feels like a risk that may not be worth taking. The war tightens its grip. Across the Pacific, American plans change. There is new confidence, but also caution. Leaders understand how close the danger came. They know victory was not clean or simple. Still, momentum is clear. The Navy now moves with fewer doubts. Carriers range farther. Operations grow bolder. The sense of hesitation that once slowed decisions begins to fade. For the men who fought, life moves on in quieter ways. Ships are repaired. Crews are reassigned. New orders arrive. But the memory stays close. Stories are shared in low voices, about moments when hope nearly broke, about ships that held the line when they should not have been able to, about decisions made in seconds that changed everything. These stories do not sound heroic when told. They sound tired, honest, human. In Japan, the battle leaves a deeper mark. Faith in naval victory weakens. Leaders begin to prepare for defense closer to home. The idea of turning the tide at sea slips away. The war becomes narrower, darker, more desperate. Across both nations, families wait for news. Letters arrive. Some bring relief. Others bring silence that says enough. The battle reaches into homes far from the ocean. Historians will later call this the largest naval battle ever fought. They will measure ships, planes, and distances. But numbers alone cannot explain its impact. What truly changed here was balance. Before this battle, the sea was still contested. After it, control began to belong to one side. Not absolutely, not without cost, but clearly, the Pacific becomes a road instead of a wall. From this point on, the war moves steadily toward Japan itself. Each step will be hard. Each step will demand sacrifice. But the direction is set, and it was set here, not by perfect plans, not by overwhelming force alone, but by endurance, by risk, by moments when fear did not stop action. The Battle of Leyte Gulf does not end the war, but it closes the door on how the war could be fought. And once that door closes, there is no way back, only forward, into a future shaped by what the sea decided in those long, uncertain days. Time passes, but the meaning of this battle does not fade. It grows clearer with distance. For those who lived through it, Leyte Gulf is not remembered as one clean moment. It is remembered as fragments. A radio call cut short, a sudden turn of the ship, a face seen for the last time. Memory holds on to feelings more than facts. Many sailors struggle to explain what they felt. They speak of fear, yes, but also of focus, of doing the next small task because thinking too far ahead felt impossible. War, in that moment, became very narrow. Stay afloat. Stay alert. Help the man next to you. Commanders carry a different burden. They replay decisions again and again. They ask what might have happened if one turn was made earlier, or one message was understood differently. These questions have no answers, only weight. History will judge their choices with full maps and full knowledge. They did not have that luxury. Leyte Gulf shows how war is shaped by limits, limits of vision, limits of time, limits of human control. Even the strongest fleets are fragile when spread across a vast and restless sea. It also shows the power of ordinary people placed in impossible situations. Small ships stood against larger ones. Pilots flew without enough fuel. Crews held their ground, not because they believed they would win, but because retreat would have meant something worse. This was not glory. It was responsibility. For Japan, Leyte Gulf becomes a quiet turning inward. The Navy that once struck across the Pacific now prepares for defense. The hope of stopping the enemy far from home is gone. The war will now come closer, step by step. For America, the battle brings confidence, but also a warning. Strength does not remove risk. Victory does not erase fear. Even success can come close to disaster. The lesson is not about who had better ships or bigger fleets. It is about how easily plans break and how much depends on people reacting under pressure. That is why this battle still matters. Not because it was the largest, not because it was complex, but because it shows war at its most human. Unclear, uneven, driven by moments rather than certainty. When the sea finally returned to silence, it did not remember flags or nations. It only held the echoes of what passed across it. Steel, fire, fear, courage, loss. Those echoes shaped the rest of the war. Leyte Gulf did not bring a sudden end. It brought a direction, a closing of possibilities, a narrowing of choices. After this battle, the Pacific War no longer asked who would control the sea. It had already answered.